Back now on The Pulse, looking at all things people, power, and politics. Here to talk about why automakers might have to change things around in the second quarter. Former auto supply chain executive Jan Griffiths. She's also, by the way, the host of the Automotive Leaders Podcast, a great one, by the way. And she really has her eyes on the ball when it comes to where things are headed. And I also think it's interesting that you have, when it comes to the geopolitical world out there, the war, the oil stuff, you really have your hand on the pulse of all of this. But let's begin with something that caught my eye. You put out in your email blog saying if you're using the same playbook in quarter two as you did in quarter one, you might want to change it. Things are changing quickly. What did you mean by that?
Yeah. The auto industry is going through a period of massive transformation. And we're here, over the past year and a half, we've been talking about tariffs. We've been talking about supply chain shortages, chip shortages, fires, the oil crisis, Strait of Hormuz. There's a massive list of things. But looming out there is this existential threat known as the Chinese OEMs, the Chinese automakers. And they are, I used to say they're catching up fast. They're ahead of us. I know that's terrible thing to say.
They're not nipping at our heels. They're ahead of us.
No. They're way beyond that. Let me give you an example of what I mean by that. So a Chinese OEM, a Chinese vehicle manufacturer, roughly, average, from concept to putting that vehicle in production, about 20 months. A legacy automotive, US-based automotive company, 40.
Wow, double. So it takes double the amount of time to go from concept to creation of a vehicle in America as it does in China.
Yes.
How do they catch up so quickly? And did we not see this coming?
We saw it coming. I think we were in sort of disbelief. And it was very easy to scoff at the quality of the Chinese vehicles initially. But now the quality is equal to, if not superior, to the American auto manufacturers. And it pains me greatly to say that.
Yeah.
And if you remember, several months ago, we talked a little bit about Jim Farley, the CEO of Ford Motor Company. He was so proud of his Chinese vehicle. It was a Chinese vehicle called a Xiaomi. That's a Chinese vehicle manufacturer. And he raved about it. And he realized that threat was very real. It's here, and he needed to do some things about it. Now, something to keep in mind. Xiaomi, in 2011, was making smartphones.
Wow.
So you take a company, didn't exist. It came into existence in 2010. In 2011, Xiaomi is making smartphones. Then they went into small appliances. So they're more about the total ecosystem. And now, last year, they produced 410,000 vehicles.
Let's go from China and what China is doing to making all of those cars in the U.S., in our great city. And the whole reason that I'm in Detroit is because my parents came here for the auto industry, and my dad has worked so much in reliability and maintainability and so much. We all have an invested interest. So let's hope that America catches up quickly and does what it needs to do. But there are some roadblocks in the way of what all autos have to do right now. And those are tariffs, the war in Iran, and the oil crisis. Let's start with the war right now, because that's what we've been talking about. What is complicating matters in the auto industry because of this war?
Yeah. Well, again, it impacts the supply line. So it impacts supplies. And the global oil price is escalating. And think about how many things are impacted by the price of oil. Oil is a base requirement for resin, which makes plastic goods. So every plastic thing that you touch. The problem is these things are changing so fast, and they're coming at us so fast. We're not built as an industry to be able to react quickly. We're not built to make decisions quickly. We operate in what we call silos. So you'll have purchasing, engineering, operations, quality, all these silos. And we've optimized these silos over the years, and we've done a really good job. But that's not how you're going to be able to make decisions and move quickly when these situations occur.
So what can be done in a situation like this to try to get out of your silo? It seems impossible if you've built these silos. How do you get out of that and then compete?
It's a complete reinvention of our playbook, which is, simply put, the way we think, the way we operate, our culture. We have to completely change all of the rules of the game, if you will, that we have learned over the last several decades.
Are Ford, GM, and Stellantis doing that?
We're seeing some evidence of that. In fact, I was just at Ford at the new Michigan Central this morning with the president of Lincoln, and we were talking about what he's doing with his group. He has recently moved his team into Michigan Central because that environment is very innovative, it's very different, it's more of that kind of culture. But now that's one aspect of it. Along with that, you've got to change the way you make decisions. And we have got to get faster in this industry. Otherwise, we won't have an industry.
Yeah, I mean, we know Lee Iacocca said back in the day, lead, follow, or get out of the way, right?
Yes.
I mean, that was that saying is still important to remember today.
Yeah.
Tariffs, where are we with these right now when it comes to the auto industry?
Yeah.
Are they hurting us? Are they helping us? Is the balance sheet better now with America and other countries? Who's benefiting?
I really try to provide a balanced view to tariffs because, yes, there are some benefits. We have seen some vehicle manufacturers move products back into the U.S., but the cost of the tariff implications for every single product that we buy and the total supply chain has been way more. It certainly outweighs the benefit. That's what we're seeing right now. So we expect more tariffs to come, certainly, in the coming months and the rest of the year.
We're going to be watching closely all of these headlines, and we're going to be listening to you as we do that. The name of the podcast again?
Automotive Leaders.
We'll be listening for you, and of course, we'll invite you back here on The Pulse. We always love to have you. Jan Griffiths, thanks for your time here tonight.
Thank you.
Well, up next, the robots are taking over your dealership, or maybe not. We're continuing with the auto theme. Now that I've got your attention, you might notice more AI. Auto analyst Brian Moody with how they're using the technology in the dealership process. That's next on The Pulse.